I hope you all bought some stock in Crumble Cookie because that stock today, woo, it's taken off. Without a shadow of a doubt, one comment literally turned the tides for a whole entire company. I love it. I got a question for you. Is the Power Ranger, Ranger Suarez, the Red Ranger, is he the ace of the Phillies staff? Sixers, Phillies, whatever else you want to talk about. Trending in the AM here on Philadelphia Sports Network starts in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow, shout it out, share it, tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell anybody you know. This is the place where your opinions actually matter in the morning. And we've got lots of Phillies and Sixers talk, plus whatever else you want to talk about today. We're talking Tobias Harris calling out casual Sixers fans and sending the Crumble Cookie stocks through the roof. We're talking James Harden. What time? When are we going to find out? And we're going to talk Phillies, too. Ranger Suarez. Is he an ace? Is he the ace of the Phillies? He's the Power Ranger. Cy Young candidate. Mark chiming in with the Cy Young comment already for Ranger Suarez. Man, I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's obviously, without a shadow of a doubt, pitching more consistently and better than anybody else on the Phillies. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, here at Trending in the AM. Make sure you follow me and bring the comments, bring your thoughts, whatever you want to talk about today. I greatly appreciate it. I don't even know what Crumble Cookies are, Mark. I don't. I honestly never heard the word Crumble Cookie before yesterday. Never heard it. Don't know what it is. Don't care what it is. I'm not going to go out and buy it. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tobias Harris has a little stock in it or maybe a little ownership share in it. Because, yeah. I mean, it was kind of funny the way Tobias Harris went off. Because when I read his comments, 99.9% of what Tobias Harris said yesterday was pretty spot on. About, talking to his dad about what he says and stuff like that. Take the father in him out. He is the agent. He's got to respect the image and everything. Everything that he said was great until he went the cookie crumble casual fan route, which completely just totally, I don't know. I hate when players do that. They are huge cake-like cookies that the storefront has lines out the door. There's one in Washington. Well, we're giving them too much press now. I don't want people to know that there's one in Washington Township. They're not sponsored. They're not sponsoring Trend in the AM. So, I don't want to give them too much publicity. But so they're a storefront. I just thought they maybe were one of those wrapped cookies you see in line at like Wawa on the counter or something like that. One of those little lemon bars and stuff like that you see. That's just what I figured it was. But if it's a storefront, damn, that store's going to have a line out of today for sure, thanks to Tobias Harris. But anyway, we'll get into the Sixers and Tobias Harris. I want to spend a little time talking Phillies. Phillies with a big 5-1 win in Chicago last night. Shout out to the Phillies, and the Cubs are playing. Obviously, air quality is a problem in Chicago still. Those wildfires, I didn't even realize were still going on. What is up, my man Drew? How you doing this morning? Way to get in early here. Get in early in the conversation so that your voice is heard. We got to talk about the Phillies a little bit. I know everybody wants to talk Sixers all the time and Eagles, but we'll get to them in a little bit. We got to talk Phillies. Tobias, I cannot be mad at Tobias. The man has done everything the front office, coaching staff, teammates have asked. If you're going to be mad at Elton Brand. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, we'll get into it in a little bit, Mark. But if Tobias Harris was making $18 or $20 million a year right now, nobody would hate Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris would be one of the most popular Sixers. He is one of the best leaders on this team. He does everything. I don't know about assassin scorer, but he is a solid scorer, and he took a back seat to the other big three scoring yesterday or this past year. So you can't really blame him for the 14 points a game or whatever. You can blame him for coming up small and having like 2 points in some of those playoff games and whatnot, but it is what it is. I got to ask you guys. I mean, Mark brought it up at the beginning, the first comment of the show today. Ranger Suarez, Cy Young contention. I mean, that's crazy, but it's possible. Ranger Suarez, another dominant outing last night, 7 and a third innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, lowers his ERA to 3.18. Man, his first 2 outings or so, when he first came back from his injury, he was atrocious. I said it before he came back that because of the pitching woes of this team and the lack of pitching depth on this team, they were going to rush him back, and it was going to be bad. And it was bad. They rushed him back. It was bad, whatever. But boy, is he settled in. And, if you guys remember, last year during the playoffs, he was the MVP of this team. He was pitching, starting games, coming out of the pen. I feel a sneeze coming on. Excuse me. Anyway, came out of the pen, did everything. He was the MVP of that playoff run, in my opinion. If he had mid-level exemption, he'd be the most beloved player on our team. Back to Tobias. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Anyway, Ranger Suarez. I am so impressed with what he's done so far. Coming back early, fighting through the rehab, and he's just out there. He just deals. Man, that sneeze has got me all. I can't even see right now. My eyes are watering. Anyway, I need to reset this show for a second. I started 2 minutes early, and now I'm like, I should have just waited 2 more minutes. Anyway, Ranger Suarez, what he has been capable of doing. This starting rotation of the Phillies has been so up and down this year. So many pitchers have one good game, one bad game, one good game, one bad game, 2 bad games, 1 good game. You know what you get out of Ranger Suarez? You get consistency. His first 3 outings, he went a combined 11 innings and gave up 12 runs in those 11 innings. Since then, he has given up 2, 1, 1, 0, 1, and 1 runs. He's given up 2, 3, 4, 6 runs in his last 6 outings combined. That is as consistent as you can get. I am actually curious, and Mark, you've been to a few games. Why is there no Power Ranger fan club out in the outfield? Remember the Wolf Pack, the Duck Pond, the Padilla Flotilla? Where are the Power Rangers during Ranger Suarez starts? Like, I really want to know why Phillies fans aren't dressed in. I mean, Jeff Warner, a friend of mine, from Birds Beer and BS, he's a huge Power Ranger fan. Why isn't he out there? He's got like 40 different Power Ranger costumes in his basement wrapped up. Well, just get them out there. Everybody start dressing as the Red Ranger out there. Shout every time he comes to the mound or every time he strikes somebody out. Everybody puts their little thing. What's it called? What do they do, the Power Rangers? Morphin something. Morphin time. Why is that not going on out in the outfield? That would create a new buzz, a new energy at the ballpark. Ranger is not just pitching like it. He is the ace of the staff. I mean, you think about what he makes, what Aaron Nola wants to make and what Zach Wheeler makes and what Ranger Suarez is actually out there doing on a nightly basis. It's insane. It's amazing. It's fantastic. And I love it. I'm here for it. I said it last year during the playoff run. I said it earlier in the show, and I'll say it again. He was the MVP of that playoff run last year. I mean, he did more for that pitching staff and this team than anybody even realizes he did. He's had a fantastic run this year. Now, like 6 outings, 6 innings. I'm actually surprised that, how hot he's been and how, questionable the bullpen has been lately, that he didn't even get a chance to finish that 8th. I know he gave up that bloop single, and then, with 1 out, he gave up that bloop single, and Rob Thompson pulled him out. He had 104 pitches. I think it's probably the most he's pitched all year, pitch-wise. I would have liked to have seen Rob Thompson let him get out of the 8th there. It is what it is. But, I'm not going to crush him for that. Power Rangers are knockoff superheroes. Corny. They are so corny. I don't get it, man. I do not get the Power Rangers whatsoever. Like, never did. I mean, they were their original series. I was like 12 when that original series came out, 13. Prime time, prime age to watch that kind of content. And I just didn't get it. I didn't understand it. Jeff Warner, NFL Jeff, DJ Spazzy Jeff. I got lots of nicknames for him. He's a huge fan still, and he's a grown-ass man, and like he goes to conventions and stuff and cosplay, all that. No, I don't get it. I don't get it whatsoever. But because of Ranger Suarez, because the Phillies are red as their main color, dude, the Power Ranger squad in left field bleachers would be iconic. Do it up by the bullpen, on Ashburn Alley, man. You had the fandemonium, who were the fans that were banging things during the pandemic outside? There's plenty of things, man. I love that kind of stuff. I miss the Podilla Flotilla. I miss the Wolf Pack. I miss those things. I love that. So let's get more of that. Let's get the Power Rangers in the outfield, all dressed in red for the Red Ranger, the ace of this pitching staff. Now the question is, with Ranger Suarez, all the joking about the Power Rangers aside, can Ranger Suarez sustain this? Like, he's not going to average 1 run a game the entire season. Can he, like, what is his ceiling this year? How long can he maintain this? Like, what realistically can we expect from Ranger Suarez? Last year was his first year ever as a main starter. Like, before last year, he was a bullpen guy that sometimes would start. And I'm looking up his yearly numbers from last year. He had a 3.65 ERA last year, a 1.33 WHIP in 155 innings, struck out 129. He walked 58, which is a bit much for 155 innings. This year, in his 9 starts so far, he's got a 3.18 ERA, so it's down. And that was with giving up 3 really bad outings to start. What's interesting to me is his WHIP is down to 1.2. And throughout his career, his walks and hits per 9 innings was typically 1.3, 1.18 in his rookie year. He only played in 4 games that year. His big year in 19 when he pitched out of the pen a lot, he had a 1.32 WHIP. In 2020, he only had 3 games. He had a huge WHIP. So, like, I see him as a guy that gives up a lot of base runners. Is Ranger Suarez a guy that can get deeper into games more consistently? Because that was his MO last year. He was a 6-inning guy last year. Can he get 7 to 8 innings every night? Can he get to a point where he's giving up no more than 2 or 3 runs every game? Can he keep the walks out of control? Like, he has a problem putting guys away sometimes. That was his MO in years past. He's still fairly young at this point. He's 27. Can he maintain some form of what he is doing right now, Ranger Suarez? And I think the answer is he can maintain some form of it. If you expect him to go out there and give up 1 run or less every single outing, you're setting yourself up for failure. But can he maintain ace-like stuff for a long stretch of time? Would you be confident if Ranger Suarez was the guy that starts game 1 or 2 in the playoffs? Now, he's not going to start game 1. You're going to give that to Zach Wheeler most likely, barring anything crazy happen in the rest of the year in a playoff series. But would you be confident with Ranger Suarez in the 2 spot in your starting lineup or starting rotation come playoffs? Aaron Nola hasn't earned that right. And the other thing I want to say, I talk about how he was the MVP of this team, or at least the pitching staff, in the playoffs last year. Did all that playoff experience for Ranger Suarez really help him? Like, did it help him turn a corner in his career? Like, you're a pitcher, you're a baseball player, you're an athlete in any sport, you're doing okay. And then all of a sudden you get into the big moment, the playoffs, and you pitch well. It kind of gives you that vote of confidence. I can hang. I can contend. I can pitch against the best of the best all the time. Did that help him? And I think that's a big part of why we're seeing so much success out of Ranger Suarez. 6 straight games of totaling 6 total runs in his 6 last games. I mean, that's not like 2 games of really good. Like, we talk about, Aaron Nola had a great outing his last outing. If he doesn't pitch well tonight, that last outing is meaningless. We need to see him stack multiple outings in a row. Well, Ranger Suarez has stacked 6 straight good starts. 6. I mean, that's excellent. That's great. So I really think something came out come playoff time last year where it was like kind of like a light switch went off in his head, being basically, yeah, I got this. I belong. And I think that is part of the reason why we're seeing so much success from Ranger Suarez now that he's finished fully recovering from his injury. His first 2 or 3 outings were kind of still like extended spring training outings for him because he hadn't really pitched much, in camp, and he had nothing basically. So I think we're really seeing something there. And I think, knock on wood, but he's gone 6 to 7 1/3 innings every single outing since then, since May 30th. In the month of June, he's had 5 starts in the month of June, and obviously June's almost over here, a couple days away, so that's it. He's done in June. He pitched to a 1.08 ERA. He pitched 33 1/3 innings in 5 starts. He gave up 4 runs, only 1 home run. That is huge right there. Only 8 walks to 33 Ks. He's gotten to 103 to 105, 104 pitches, almost over 100 pitches almost every single time, which is great. I think it's fantastic. I think what Ranger Suarez has done is great. It's great for the team, and it's a bright spot on a very confusing season so far, where we're not really sure what we have in this Phillies team. Obviously, no one wants to talk Phillies because no one's commenting, no one's talking, everyone's left the show. Nobody wants to talk the Phillies at all. But we're going to continue talking for a few more minutes here. Because, again, Aaron Nola, his last outing, went 6 shutout innings. It was the game we lost in 10 innings, 5-1 to the Braves, last week, where we had a shutout through 9 innings and gave up 5 runs in the top of the 10th. We do need to see another great outing from Aaron Nola tonight. The key there will be seeing if he could do it again, and it'll be to see what Topper does with the lineup, because we have our old friend Drew Smyly, who's a terrible pitcher, who's having a renaissance of a year this year. He's got like a 3.3 ERA for the Cubbies. He's a lefty. He's a guy that he doesn't throw fast or anything like that, but we should be able to crush. Problem is, typical Phillies fashion, we're going to go cold at the plate or something like that against a Drew Smyly type, and Stott and Marsh, and you're going to see a righty-heavy lineup today because of Smyly out there. And last night, Brandon Marsh goes deep twice, but there's a chance that he might not even be in the lineup tonight because of Drew Smyly. That being said, we need the win tonight. We need to keep stacking. This would be 3 wins in a row, another series win. It's very imperative of the Phillies and Aaron Nola to go out tonight, no matter what Topper puts on that lineup card tonight, go out and take advantage of a guy in Drew Smyly who, like I said, is having a very Renaissance-type season, but is not a really good pitcher. So hopefully the Phillies turn things around. Hopefully the Phillies are able to keep this momentum going. Coach Dal Carlson, I'm sorry. Your Cubbies got to go down tonight. They got to. There's no reason for them to do anything. There's no reason for the Phillies to lose this game tonight. Everything says they should play well. Everything says that they should, win this game. I'm trying to look through my notes here and see if there's anything we didn't cover baseball-wise this week that I wanted to. Not really, because nobody likes talking baseball on this show. What's wrong with you people? Once I switch the topics to basketball, which I'm going to here, all the comments will start flowing in again. The viewership will go up. The viewership is a little low right now because I didn't put Jalen Hurts in the picture to set up the show. We barely talked Eagles. I don't even think we talked Eagles yesterday. We had a great show yesterday. I put Jalen Hurts' picture in the video or in the promo of the show, and everybody tuned in. That's all it is. You just put Jalen Hurts' picture, people show up. I wonder if it's like that if I put Jason Kelsey in there too. As long as I put an Eagle in the picture, everybody shows up because football wins. Football wins. Anyway, Phillies got to get the win tonight. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, got to get the win tonight. I would love. I know we got 2 hits last night. Kyle Schwarber has still not been given a day off. Maybe Rob Thompson gives Kyle Schwarber the day off. Maybe you put Bryson Stott in the leadoff spot. Maybe you put Trey Turner back up there. I don't know. I doubt it happens. Bryce Harper, I think he might need a day or 2 off again. He seems to be struggling massively. Longest power drought of his career. It seems like every time he's up there swinging a bat, he's just trying to hit a home run, and it's not good. So it'll be curious to see what Rob Thompson throws out there tonight against Drew Smyly. But with that being said, let's transition. Nobody wants to talk Phillies. I got 19 minutes of Power Ranger Suarez ace content talk in there, so we can talk a little Sixers if you want. And if you want to get back to the Phillies as you tune in later, drop your comments. Even if you're watching on replay, we had about 50 views of yesterday's show on replay, and 1 or 2 people did comment on the replay, and I do check all comments. So always drop your comments because, as the tagline of the show says, where your opinions actually matter, because that truly is the way it is. So Sixers, yesterday, Tobias Harris, oh my God, called the Sixers fans casual, or called casual fans, saying that they would trade him for a crumble cookie. Man, I if you go through and read this whole thing, well, my daddy's my number 1 fan. If you ask who's better, him or prime Michael Jordan, he'll tell you he's better. And when he becomes a father, he's going to tell his kid he's better than LeBron. That's what dads do. But as an agent, you don't speak for me in the media and stuff like that. So he had a very interesting, soliloquy comment, long extended comment. Explained Doc wanted him to be the guy that, stable piece, sacrifice some of the scoring, do all other things on the floor. I was always guarding the other team's best player, which he was, and he wasn't getting credit for it. Be able to adapt and change my game, catch and shoot, things he wasn't used to. And he was okay with that role. He never complained. He did what it was to help the team win. He sacrificed for the betterment of the team. And up to that point of this little ramble on that he did, I was like, damn, this is exactly why I love Tobias Harris. Because Tobias Harris is the ultimate team player, the ultimate leader, locker room leader. He doesn't mind. As long as teams are winning, he's happy. He doesn't mind scoring 2 points a game, 30 points a game. He's capable of doing both because he scored like 2 points in Game 7. We give James Harden and Joel Embiid all the flack for Game 7 and Game 6. Well, Tobias Harris came up small in those games as well. But then he just goes on and says this. So, with that being said, trade speculations, casual Sixers fans, they'll trade me for a cookie crumble. But at the end of the day, you have to realize that they're not getting a 6'9" forward back who can, shoot nor 40% from three, guard the best player on the floor, shoot, close-up, drive, play 70-plus games a year. So for me, I thought our team, we had a great, not a disappointing end of the season, but we were close. I believe there's a right talent to win the championship team, blah, blah. He continues to go on and on here. But when Tobias Harris calls out casual Sixers fans, now, he is right to an extent. There is a form of the casual Sixer fan, the casual NBA fan, the trolls of the internet, the people that are just out there stirring shit up, and this guy sucks at, never has anything positive to say. Some would say I never have anything. Some say I have nothing positive to say. I always say positive stuff. It just seems lately that some of my few negative comments have blown up more than my positive comments, which doesn't make sense. Because I'm getting hit with whenever I say something negative, I'm getting hit hard on social media. But it is what it is. He does have a point. There are so many fans out there. Man, I love you, DJ Eastwood. I love you, DJ Eastwood. You're good, and we're going to collab soon. I know that. But, man, you don't just trade the guy. Like, I know you're one of those guys that just says get rid of him for a bucket of balls. Well, man, there's so much. Tobias Harris is actually a valuable NBA player, not just a valuable tradable contract. In the right team, in the right system, in the right situation, Tobias Harris is a positive NBA basketball player. Yes, he's got a huge contract attached to him. I get that. But that huge contract attached to him, notwithstanding, he's a guy in the right situation that still can average 18 to 20 points a game. He can grab 10 boards a game, not on average, but, it's not out of the realm of possibility. In the right situation, Tobias is a 19-point, 8-rebound-a-game guy, still at this point in his career. And there's a lot of teams that would love it. He damn well did shoot near 40% from three in a role as a spot-up quarter three that he's not designed to play. So when he says the casual fans, there are fans that really just want to hate on Tobias Harris just because he's got this albatross of a contract. And I think it's unfair to him. I really do. And the cookie crumble and the casual fan comment really pissed a lot of Sixers fans off. And I get it. I understand why. Drop my pen. Need my pen here with me to hold and to write things down with. I get it. I think he's okay in saying that. I understand why it upsets fans. They don't want to be called out. They don't mind calling out players, but they don't. What is up, my man, Eric? We've moved on from the Phillies, Eric. So you got in just in time. We're talking Tobias Harris right now and his casual fan comment. I'm okay with him saying it because we call out the players all the time. Why are they not allowed to call us out back? Especially when the people it's not like they're calling out people that are saying, well, you can't trade Tobias Harris for this player or that, like bad hypothetical trades. Where he's calling out the people that say just dump him. There are people out there that's just saying cut him, just let him walk, whatever. Trade him for anything. Trade him for a 9th-round draft pick, which it doesn't even exist. And he's right in saying that. Because there are so many fans that are so hung up on the contract. And Mark said it earlier in the show. One of his first comments of the show. Where is it? Can't be mad at him. Be mad at Elton Brand for giving him the contract. Don't even be mad at Elton Brand. Be mad at Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler left us. People think that we chose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. No. We didn't choose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. It is not. What does Jimmy Butler say? What does he say? You chose Tobias over me? That's a load of BS, honestly. It really is. We gave Tobias that contract because we traded so many assets for Tobias and Jimmy. Jimmy walked on us. Jimmy didn't want to play with Brett Brown. Jimmy did not want to play with Ben Simmons. So he chose to leave Philly. He could have stayed in Philly. I guarantee if he says, sure, I will stay here, they would have given him the max contract, and they would have given Tobias Harris the max deal, and we would have run it back. And we would have ran that team back completely. Mark, you're always right. You are the voice of reason. 80% of our fans are casuals. Exactly, but there's different levels of casuals, Eric, as well. There's the casuals that say trade Tobias Harris for a crumble cookie, and there's others that say, trade him for, I don't even know, for Tony Roten. And there's people that say trade him, let's just find a way to trade him because it makes sense for the long term. We're all just casual fans. But there's different levels. And he's calling out like the bottom feeder level ones. The ones that you could say, yeah, he is only worth a crumble cookie. And they're like, no, he's only worth an Oreo cookie. Like they'll always go lower. The fact that we traded a lot for 2 players and Sixers had to save face by signing one. And this is exactly what I've been preaching I've been doing this morning show, Mark, for almost 2 years now. I've been talking about this for so long. They had no choice to give him the contract. So I don't even blame Elton Brand. If anything, and I love Jimmy. Jimmy Buckets will hang there forever. I never wanted him to go. But the fact that he is the one to blame, in my opinion. I know this is crazy because I don't think anybody's ever said this. Blame Jimmy Butler, not Tobias Harris or Elton Brand or anybody else for the Tobias Harris situation that we're in now here in 2023. His contract is expiring, and he's still acting like we on the hook for 4 more years. Exactly. This is what we've been waiting for, the opportunity to trade him. And we are going to trade him, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, in August, at the trade deadline. Tobias Harris will be traded at some point. I think there's a room to say, would Tobias Harris actually be a really good player under Nick Nurse? Is there a scenario where Nick Nurse unlocks something out of Tobias and Tobias actually stays here and plays next year and is actually a viable asset to this team next year? I keep saying, is he more valuable at the trade deadline? Well, what if he stays with this team and Nick Nurse finds a way to not make him a corner spot up 3 guy and he actually puts him in the right positions to succeed? I mean, there is a scenario where that's the way it plays out. We should have traded Ben a lot sooner had Butler come back. Exactly. So, again, I'm going to say it again. Maybe we should be blaming Jimmy Butler, not Tobias Harris, not Elton Brand. Blame Jimmy Butler. Blame Ben Simmons. Blame Brett Brown. 3 grown-ass men that couldn't figure shit out. Blame them, not Tobias Harris and not Elton Brand. Remember, the Sixers and the fans were in love with Dario Saric. I did, the homie, man, and feared that he'd blow up elsewhere, so the Sixers were backed into a corner. Dude, the homie. There were rumors before the Bradley Beal to Phoenix trade, that we were, I don't know how, but Dario Saric, was a rumor to come back to Philly this offseason somehow. Man, I love the homie. The guy is slow, tall, lumbering white boy, or European white boy at that, but the dude can shoot. Well, he could when he was here in Philly. He's really fallen off, around the NBA, but man, I love that kid. Loved him. Tobias will be at his highest value at the deadline. You might be able to squeeze him. You actually depend, but see, here's the thing is, Mark. I get this, and I've been thinking the same line of thought as you here, but I also am thinking what if he plays so well that you can't trade him at the deadline? Because Nick Nurse has unlocked something in him. So, like, I get this train of thought. Or what if he just bombs and just becomes terrible and plays even worse than last year? So there's a devil's advocate to wait until the deadline. I think if he plays equally as good as he has the last couple of years, you could probably get a late first rounder or a protected first rounder from a playoff team that needs a scoring power for it. You probably can. But what if? You know what I mean? And there were reports yesterday coming out that Jalen McDaniels might not be able to stay, which means you gave up, Matisse Thybulle, your boy, for nothing. Like, I keep saying Paul Reed will be the guy that doesn't stay because we can't match an offer. Well, there's a lot of rumors floating around that a lot of teams are going to outprice the Sixers on McDaniels, which then means if you trade Tobias Harris, McDaniels is your de facto starting four at that point. But if you can't keep him, now you got no starting four. Really interesting there. So you might have to keep Tobias Harris even past the deadline, depending on how that situation plays out. I don't blame Brand. It's Butler's fault. I'm so glad you said this, because I just, this is kind of like one of those things that just kind of popped up out of nowhere today. And I never really said it out loud. I thought of it, never said it. And now I'm saying it out loud to the public, and I kind of feel like it might be spot on. I don't know. I'm glad that you don't think I'm completely nuts on thinking this, Eric, because, man, and everybody wanted him to win a title. I didn't, but thank God he didn't win a title. I think it's a hilarious comment from you because, it would prove him right. And yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's crazy. Then you keep him and let him walk at the end of the season. Then you have the cap space. Yeah, absolutely, Mark. I get that. But see, the thing is, if you could trade him now for 2 or 3 players, one bad contract, and then like two more regular role players that have expiring contracts, you still get some cap space. Maybe you get a second-round pick. Maybe you get a protected first-round pick from somebody. I keep going back to the Buddy Hield in the first. You get a first-round pick, and you get Buddy Hield. You get a shooter. I don't know. I don't know which way is the best. McDaniels walking would be so bad. It would. Like, everyone's so hyped to see what McDaniels does under Nick Nurse. Well, we got a lot of young guys that are restricted free agents right now. We can only give so much money out with this new CBA that's going on. I don't know. You're going to lose him or Reed, maybe both. If he walks and you got rid of Matisse in the process, you traded Matisse for McDaniels to get more length. You proceed, Doc Rivers, to not play McDaniels in the playoffs, Doc Rivers, and then you proceed to lose him in free agency. It would be a disaster for this front office. Another check mark on the negative side of the Daryl Morey situation. I disagree. Butler made people uncomfortable, but he had to because the coach and Simmons were soft. The Sixers chose. I disagree with you, Mark. I disagree. Well, I mean, the Sixers chose wrong. I agree with that. But if Butler makes people so uncomfortable, Butler loved playing here. He loved the Philly fans, and he loved Joel Embiid. He couldn't put 1% of his ego aside, try to find a way to make it work, or sign that big contract and then convince Joel Embiid in the offseason, yo, let's do our thing and push these two out of town. Remember, stars run the league, not the coaches, not the GMs. If Jimmy Butler stayed and signed a max extension, there's no way that I could, there's no way it would have worked out with all 4 of them in the same room. But Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid would have won if Josh Harris was sitting at a table, you had Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid on one side, Ben Simmons and Brett Brown on the other. Let me tell you something. Josh Harris is going to choose the Embiid and Butler side every time once those contracts are signed. Jimmy Butler wasn't under contract. Ben Simmons and Brett Brown were. Jimmy Butler chose to go because he had to. Because there was no way at that situation, the way it was at that moment, that the Sixers were going to move off of those guys. But if he stays, a year later, they go. I don't know. I say you got to put some of the blame. Jimmy Butler is one of those basketball players that is blame-free of every situation. It wasn't his fault the Heat lost in the finals to the Nuggets, was it? It wasn't his fault, when they lost in the finals. Who'd they lose to the finals in the bubble? Was it the Lakers? I think that was the Lakers. It's never Jimmy Butler's fault because he makes people feel uncomfortable, as you say. I'm going to put your comment back up here. The people uncomfortable part of it. It's never his fault. Why? Why is he so untouchable, Jimmy Butler? I love Jimmy Butler. That jersey will never come down, except for when I wear it. And I do still wear my Sixers Jimmy Butler jersey. Call me a fugazi, call it a violation, whatever you want. My brother crushes me whenever he sees me wear it. But, why is he never wrong? What has Jimmy Butler ever won? He's been ran out of Minnesota, Chicago, Philly. He's been run out of 3 cities now. Maybe some of his Jimmy. How do we get on Jimmy Butler? How did we get on a 5-10 minute Jimmy Butler tangent here? I wanted to talk Tobias Harris and James Harden. Somehow we're on this Jimmy Butler, but now I'm kind of really into this conversation here. Like, make sure you're liking this video, people. Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching, hit the like button, drop your comments. We got a lot of people watching, not a lot of people commenting. But as I always say, where your opinions actually matter, here on Trending in the AM. Tobias Harris, though. Let's backtrack to the point of this conversation. When is he most valuable to be traded? He's obviously going to get traded at some point, unless the scenario that I laid out happens. And it's all about, what are people going to remember about Tobias Harris? They're going to remember the contract, not the player. They're going to remember his most recent comments about casual fans wanting to trade him for a cookie. But really, Tobias Harris has been a viable, valuable asset to this team for several years now. And I've said it like multiple times on this show over the course of the last. Stop, man, chatter. Stop. You're just trolling at this point. Trolling with that comment. The problem is, no, he is not mid. He is above mid. He's not great, but he's above mid. The problem with this whole situation, do you trade him? Do you not trade him? Do you trade him for this? Do you trade him for that? Do you trade him for a cookie? Do you trade him for a first? This time, that time? All of it. All this Tobias Harris situation revolves around one thing. What James Harden does. You cannot trade Tobias Harris till you know what's happening with James Harden. And what time is it? It's time for a decision. Is anybody else as just annoyed and sick and tired every day? He's torn. The next day, he's leaning towards Philly. The next day, he's torn. The next day, he's leaning towards Philly. The next day, now he's probably going to go back to Houston. The next day, he's coming back to Philly. It's almost a done deal. The next day, he's still torn. The next day, it's all his inner circle knows, but no one else knows. Dude, be a grown-ass man, James Harden. Time's now. Time is up. I'm trying to remember how the John Cena song goes. Your time is up. Your time is now. Whatever, however it goes. Like, it's time. Make a damn decision. And then we know if James Harden's here, you need X type of player to pair with him, Maxey, and Embiid. So you trade Tobias Harris for that. If he walks, you need to make sure you get a ball handler in here as part of the Tobias Harris, situation. Like, you might need a Fred VanVleet if James Harden walks. Well, you need to do a Fred VanVleet sign and trade, which means then you get Tobias Harris's contract involved there. Like, you can't see me. Yeah, I can see you. I can't see your face, but I see your comments nonstop. Like, I really need James Harden to make a decision. At this point, I don't even care what the decision is. I just need to see the decision so we know what's going to happen for Tobias Harris. Like, James Harden is literally holding this entire franchise hostage right now, not making a decision. My question is, when is this decision going to come? How long is he going to play this out and drag it out? Isaiah Joe, Reed, McDaniel, Bassey, best players on the bench gone with nothing in return. Yo, Eric, I'm no Daryl Morey fan. But again, Isaiah Joe on this team doesn't change the outcomes of last season. Bassey does not change the outcome of this season. They were mid players. They were players that needed time to develop. They needed to go to lesser teams so they had the opportunity to grow. Like Isaiah Joe, where would his minutes have came last year? Whose minutes would he have taken minutes from James Harden or Tyrese Maxey? No. So he wouldn't have taken them from Melton either. Shake Milton didn't play regularly, so he wasn't taking minutes there. Bassey, whose minutes was he taking? Paul Reed's, and then you would have complained about Paul Reed. So I don't get into the Isaiah Joe Bassie situation, but McDaniels, you traded someone like Matisse Thybulle for McDaniels, and then you chose not to play him. You played him. We complained that Maxey did, or Matisse Thybulle didn't get enough minutes, and you gave him even less than Matisse. So a lot of that, whoa, what the hell happened there? Banged my cord. A lot of that there is on Doc Rivers, not the GM Daryl Morey. So I give that. Yes, I do like Tobias. And you want to make some Rock comments and John Cena comments. I don't know if you guys know this. We're going to go on a side tangent here for 2 seconds because there's, a few wrestling comments going on. And I've done some wrestling impersonations. I dropped some wrestling knowledge on occasion. Do you all realize that today is the 25th anniversary of the 1998 King of the Ring pay-per-view? Why do I bring that up? Do you know what happened at the 1998 King of the Ring pay-per-view? Mankind was thrown 16 feet off the top of a steel cage through the announce table by The Undertaker. One of the most iconic wrestling moments ever happened today, 25 years ago. The Rock and The Undertaker, or the Mankind and The Undertaker, so much more than just that moment. But they will live on in infamy because of that moment. I think it's something that, it's one of those things that that when it happened live, you're like, holy crap, did Mankind just die? Did Mrs. Foley's baby boy just die? Anyway, my point is they're going for nothing. You can't let them walk. I get the letting them walk for nothing part. I get that. You gotta find a way to get return for your assets when you trade them or you let them go and stuff like that. I get that. But Doc Rivers never played them enough to even know if they were assets or not. And let's be honest, Isaiah Joe, he had some really good moments last year, but he also had some pretty ofer nights last year as well. So he was developing. There was something there, but we just don't know what. Yeah, that was King of the Ring, man. 98, 25 years ago. Mankind flies, tooth up through his lip, into his nose. Man. Oh man, that was awful. One of the Big Boss Man was involved in some pretty awful scenarios for sure. Back to this conversation. It's up to James Harden. I ask you all. There's people watching the show. If you've commented, Eric, Man Chatter, if you haven't commented, comment now. When will James Harden make the decision? Or is James Harden playing? Does James Harden have a wink? He'll go back to Houston if he has to, but he's really playing. And he's going to try to drag this out as long as possible so that maybe Daryl Morey caves. There were new rumors yesterday that, the new rumor was that he is going to get a max deal or near max deal from the Sixers. Will Daryl Morey cave and give James Harden what he wants, which is as much money as possible? Like, I don't know. I don't know how Daryl Morey caves. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he could justify to us, to the fan base, to anybody, that I'm giving him the max deal. Like, I just don't know how he does it. He might. I'm not sure. But, man, I don't know. I need the decision now. It's got to happen now. Because so much else has to happen. How much money can we offer or match of McDaniels? Can we bring Paul Reed back? Who are we going to go get with our mid-level exception? What vet minimums are we going to sign? Can we sign? Who are we trading Tobias for? Are we looking for another power forward? Are we looking for a ball handler? Are we looking for 3 role players to fill out this team? James Harden is holding this team hostage by not making a decision. He's holding Daryl Morey hostage, which, is crazy because supposedly Daryl Morey and James Harden are thick as thieves. They're like best buddies. And like his whole entire, career, they've been linked together. You would think that James Harden would have a little bit more respect for Daryl Morey for all that he's done for him throughout his career and be like, yeah, I'm coming back. We'll agree on something in this price range in years and we'll figure out the details. Go ahead and make the rest of the, rest of your moves. Or he'll just say, now the other rumor I saw yesterday is he might just opt in and pick up his $36 million one-year option because he doesn't like the offers he's getting. Honestly, that's the best case scenario without a shadow of a doubt. Let him sign that one-year option that he had for $36 million, and then you clear that $36 million in cap space next year, and you get one more year of James Harden. That would be the ideal. And then you trade Tobias Harris for shooters, role players, a small forward, whatever. That would be ideal. And that rumor's floating around. That rumor, when I saw that rumor float around yesterday, that he's going to sign his one-year option, because I think he's got till Friday, maybe July 1st, I don't know, so that's Saturday, something like that. He's got till that day to sign his option. And when somebody said that there's a chance now sitting out there that he might just pick up that option, I just laughed. There's no way James Harden is playing at 34 years old on a one-year deal. He'd rather sign for 2 years at 50 or 60 million than a 1 year, $36 million deal. Like, I just don't see that happening. There's zero chance. Unless I just don't know how that rumor even started, where it floated from, but I just don't see it happening. Like, zero chance. Zero chance of that happening. But it's a new rumor, and every day there's a new rumor. This and that. And it's just nauseating. It's no different than Dame Lillard. And, you know, I plan on getting into it. We could start a little bit of it, and we'll save it for tomorrow, more of it. Getting crushed on Twitter because of this whole Joel Embiid. You know, I compared him to Dame Lillard in the sense where, when will this, you know, we talked about Jimmy Butler, you know, forcing his way out of here. Well, Dame Lillard almost forces his way out of Portland every year. You know, when is that going to become something with Joel Embiid? This James Harden situation, this Tobias Harris situation. Joel Embiid's got to be sitting back in his gigantic ass rocker because he's so big. He's got to have a specially made rocking chair in his apartment or house where he's holding his baby, you know, whatever. Like, what the hell is going on with my team? And at some point down the line, not this year, maybe not next year, at some point, Joel Embiid's going to question this franchise. And I got crushed for saying that. He loves Philly too much. He would never leave Philly. He would never demand out. Well, if the guy wants to win and Philly keeps going in the wrong direction, maybe he does. Who's the new big free agents? When? Next year? I don't know. I know next year's class is supposed to be big. I don't even know what this. I don't even know how to answer because I don't know who's the free agent. I don't know who. You know, let's type this in. NBA free agency. Let's see if we can find a list of the free agents right now. I know there's a site. There it is. Click. Russell Westbrook's a free agent right now. You can go bring him in if you want to. He could be your point guard. Yeah, that's good. Chris Middleton, I think he opted out. He's available. James Harden still. Kyrie Irving is still available. D'Angelo Russell is available right now. Let's see here. Fred VanVleet, obviously. Chris LeVert. It's pretty weak. Derrick Rose is a free agent right now. Is there a way I could turn this to 2024 update? 2024. Tobias, Klay Thompson, Harden again, Siakam, Gordon Hayward, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Jaylen Brown, Buddy Hield. These are all names that will be available in 2024. James can come back. We let him and Harris contracts expire and rebuild a super team next year. See, that's the thing, though. Do you even want a super team? Like, you look around the NBA. The Denver Nuggets, were they a super team? No, they had a superstar MVP player and two players that played superstar level, but don't get the superstar. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon, you know, they don't have four superstars on that team. They got one superstar in the Joker. They got one star in Jamal Murray that everybody else that knows their role to a T. And I almost feel like that's how you build a team, with depth, role players. I don't even know if I want, like, a superstar-laden team anymore. Like, I want Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, than a veteran leader point guard that could just run the point. I need a small forward that can get buckets. I don't know. I think that's the way you get two or three really strong role players on the bench. Like, that might be the better way to go in this situation. I don't know. I don't know how I feel anymore. I like today's show. I was sitting there thinking that I've been too negative, supposedly, on Twitter. And I'm thinking, maybe that's right. I got this reputation of being Mr. Uber positive. Always, everyone's opinion matters. I'm like, I'm going to come on today's show. I'm going to be super positive. I spent some time talking about the Ace Ranger, Power Ranger Suarez, trying to be super positive on the Phillies, for the first 20 minutes of the show. And all of a sudden we start talking to Tobias Harris and James Harden. And here I am again. I'm just feeling down in the dumps at this point. Like, no desire whatsoever. Like, this Sixers team and the personalities on this team have become so frustrating and nauseating. Like, I don't know. Like, I need this offseason. I need decisions made on Tobias and James Harden just so I can move on. Like, I just want to get to the point, we got Eagles training camps, like 4 weeks away? Get back to talking Eagles every day. Just talk Phillies every day, even if it means 0 views and 0 likes. We only got 9 likes on this video today. 2 on YouTube, or 2 on Facebook, 9 on YouTube. Make sure you just pounding that like button. Like, I don't know. Like, I just want it to be over with so that I could just get 0 views and just talk Phillies and Eagles every day at this point. Like, I can't take the back and forth on James Harden and Tobias Harris anymore from the media, from the fans on social media. It's nauseating at this point. Okay, take 2 free up max deals and retool with the best role. And that might be the thing. You're going to have to give Maxey a max deal by next year. You have Maxey and Embiid and a great team. Problem is, I don't trust Daryl Morey to build that team. And that's the problem. I've never enjoyed, Daryl Morey, or never liked Daryl Morey's, decision making. He's made, again, to be positive, because I'm told I'm always negative, he has done some good here in Philly, Daryl Morey. He got us off of Al Horford. He got us D'Anthony Melton for basically Danny Green and a late first-round pick. The first-round pick was for Melton. Danny Green was for Al Horford. I forget. Basically, got us Melton and got rid of Horford. So he does get some positive credit for some of the good he has done. But I just don't have confidence in building a winning team. We love football. We all love football. Football sells. It's like sex sells, football sells, podcasts and content. I mean, the content creation world, the YouTube world, it's flooded. There's so many people doing shows. I'm the first daily show in Philly on YouTube. I'm the best one where your opinions matter, and you should be liking this video. But football sells. It does. It doesn't matter how many people talk football. If you find a host you like, you're going to watch it because it's football talk. Don't worry, Friday's all Football Friday. I got things down here for Football Friday. I do. We're going to talk stuff on football. We're going to talk quarterbacks in the NFL. We're going to talk all different kinds of things on Football Friday. But Tobias Harris will get traded like Thursday night, and it'll ruin Football Friday because we'll have to talk about that all over again. Something like that will happen. Or James Harden will sign a max contract, or like something's going to ruin Football Friday. I just foresee it so much. Just like last week, the NBA draft ruined Football Friday. Look, I just don't know how I feel anymore about this whole situation. I don't. And man, I'm trying to write. I got a note here. There was a discussion between Zach Chavalella, my guest last Friday, and Scotty from DSM Media about youth and athleticism versus skill players and what you need more on a team. So you build around Maxey and Embiid, and you get the right skill players combined with some youth and athleticism to build around them. Is it getting worse? That's great. That's great. Because then that falls right in line with how I'm going to feel about Josh Allen and some of the comments I'm going to say about Josh Allen on Friday. Save that. Let that simmer a little bit right there. Look, I'm just going to wrap up the show a few minutes early because I don't want to talk about Tobias Harris anymore. I don't want to talk about James Harden anymore. Y'all don't want to talk about Ranger Suarez, the ace and the Power Ranger, the Red Ranger, the leader of the Rangers, the leader of the Phillies, Ranger Suarez anymore. So we're going to end it right there. We're going to start the wrap up a few minutes early instead of a few minutes late. I'm going to say that the Phillies better get a win today. And there's no way. George, football offseason is so long. I can't talk about it every day. People like talking basketball too, just not you. For the most part, it's just because today's conversation wasn't fun because it's a nauseating conversation that's so repetitive. But if you want to talk football, we'll talk football tomorrow. I'll bring up what we had a little private conversation about. Jalen Hurts. We'll talk about it. I was saving it for Friday, but, it is what it is. I was just thinking, look. It is what it is. All right, I'll spend more time. I'm wrapping up the show today. I don't care. We're not starting. Because if I start talking football right now, then we'll be into overtime. I know I got a big-ass pizza order to make this morning, so I can't go overtime. So we're just going to wrap it up early. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for saying great show. Tune in every day, 8:30 a.m., sometimes earlier than 8:30. I greatly appreciate it. Try my best to kick ass every morning here, even when the conversation sucks, which the conversation feels like it sucks today. And because I'm just tired and I don't know which way it's going to go. But we're going to wrap it up. And hopefully something changes. Hopefully the Phillies win tonight. Aaron Nola pitches well so I can talk Phillies tomorrow. And we'll talk Eagles tomorrow. You guys want to talk football tomorrow? We'll make Football Friday a football two-dayer. We'll do Thursday and Friday football. We'll start the quarterback conversation tomorrow. We'll see what happens. You never know. Well, Twitter, things change, things happen, rumors break, things happen, whatever. We'll get into it all. But make sure you're liking this video. Make sure you say, $500 super chat. Dude, I'll take a $1 super chat at this point. Look, let me wrap this up. There's no overtime today. I got a basketball camp that I feed that I got to get back. I feed them every single day in this week of the summer and next month for the summer. So I got to get in there and make a boatload of pizzas for like 400 kids, at some basketball camp, which I feel bad for the guy, Chris, who hosts the basketball camp because it's so big. He needs outdoor space and indoor space. And it has rained so much that he's got like 400 kids cramped into the gym at a high school. It cannot be fun. Everybody has a price. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody has a price for sure, my man. See, I stuck it in there. You give me a little opening. I get it in there. I didn't want to focus on the $1 Million Man. I wanted to focus on Mick Foley and The Undertaker, the 25th anniversary of the Hell in a Cell match. Not the first Hell in a Cell match. People think it's the first. It's not. It's not the first. Trivia question. Who was in the first Hell in a Cell match? It was not Mick Foley and The Undertaker. I'm not giving you the answer. You've got to know. Anyway, my laugh is perfect. My wife does not listen to a show, but she picks up on a few things that she says I'm too loud because she can hear me halfway across the house when I'm talking. She hates the laugh. I'll just tell you that. She just told me, Mrs. Phil, you want to call her that on the show. George knows her name. But Mrs. Phil does not like the laugh. She does not like when I say in the beginning of the show. That's why I've changed it up. I said, shout it from the rooftops. Trending the AM, the best morning show there is. She hates when I say that. She hates it. I don't know why. I thought it was a good one. That's why I'm saying tell a neighbor, tell a friend, tap on the shoulder and the person in front of you. Do something. I'm trying to come up with something new. She hates the laugh and she hates the shout it from the rooftop. So everybody crush Mrs. Phil. Go for it. For sure. If I was the $1 Million Man, Phil I would not be your Virgil. You would be my Virgil. Oh no, that sounded wrong. Sorry. No, I don't have a Virgil. I do it on my own. I don't have a price to be someone's. What was Virgil's title? He was not the assistant, his valet or whatever. Look, was it Undertaker Triple H? I thought it was Undertaker HBK. I want to say it was HBK. I just know it wasn't Mankind. First, Google search first. Hell in a Cell match. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, 1997. Yep, I was right. So it was 26 years ago, the first Hell in a Cell. It was HBK, not Triple H. She hates wrestling with a passion. When I put Monday Night Raw on, when I occasionally do, she hates it. So anyway, see, I said I got to wrap it up, and we just went on for 5 more minutes bullshitting together, everybody. Because that's what I love about this show. The bullshit at the end of the show is just as fun as the middle of the show and the end of the show and the beginning of the show. But yeah, she hates a lot of things I say. She says I talk too loud. I sometimes don't think I talk loud enough. That's why I hold the microphone and don't have it here in a holster. All right, guys, got to wrap it up. Trending the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. For them, I am Phil Stiefel. We'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. You guys want football talk? Bring your football questions. I don't have an agenda for tomorrow for football. I got ideas and topics for Friday, We can slide something in. But if you want to talk football, you better come ready with comments and questions and everything else. Because if you want to talk football, you better bring the comments and everything. Don't you have to go and you'll good pizza? Yeah, I gotta make some pizzas. Yeah, exactly. The bullshit at the end is my favorite. I love it. That's why I gotta wrap the show. Look, I'm already into overtime now. I tried wrapping this show up. At 54 minutes. We're over an hour now. Jeez, man. All right, gotta go. Everybody have a great day. For Philadelphia Sports Network, I'm Phil Stiefel. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.